really briefly, tell us about yourself.
My name is Rubwama Daniel Chigozi. I'm an artist who started off 10 years old was the first time I was ever in the studio. I was produced by some unknown producer called Steve Jean. He was an intern at Bava Studios in Lunguja, which is of course Ruvaga. Lunguja is like the same neighborhood. So that's the first time I ever got into studio. Since then, we've kind of been working to get better and better, bigger and better. The Clear Cut days, through the Talent and Navio days, into where we are now. It's been a long journey. Like I say, 35, 40 countries toured representing Ugandan music. Closer to 70 awards now for the music we've put in. And there's just 1,000 stories between here and there that I could mention. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's been an epic journey, and you guys have been on that journey with me, as well as a lot of the sponsors on here as well have been on that journey with me. So, I wouldn't be here without you guys. The fans, all of the fans that are watching, you guys are the ones who fuel us and make us better, man. So thank you guys so much for that. So I'm neighborhood Navio, man. You never know what neighborhood you're gonna catch me in.
Yeah, neighborhood Navio. All right, so I feel like, honestly speaking, Timothy Cord is here. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Navio gives the best interviews. Every time you come to the show, best interviews, always very professional, fun, and name it, everything in between. So we've really witnessed your journey because you've actually given us, chance to look into your life. You keep showing up for interviews over time. So most of the things that you say here, we probably already know, and everyone is just happy to be part of your journey right now. If you could please tell us a little bit, if there's a story right before Clear Cut, I'd like you to start there, and then bring us all here. If you could just tell us Navio in terms of the music, what's the story?
I think Navio, pre-Clear Cut or around the Clear Cut days, was more of a hype man. That's what people don't know or realize. I was never the most lyrical or the most and nothing's changed. No, but I was never the most talented in the group. But I know I had to represent for the guys that were in the group with me. So yeah, there may have been times where I ran on stage and I would just shout the whole time, "Get your hands up, put your hands down, lefty, righty, hands in the air." But I knew that I had to get better, and I knew there had to be more substance with what I do. And I had very good teachers in KUT Clear Cut to kind of get my rhymes together and have me become, the battle MC that gets respect from Kenya to Nigeria to South Africa, to become that MC who is able to travel around and be known on other continents and take selfies in Malaysia, some of the most unexpected places that we get stopped, by people on the continent and off the continent to take selfies. So I'd say that was really one of the funniest things, and I may share footage with the media of me jumping up and down, saying not much of anything when I used to get on stage. So it's weird to see that journey. Another one would be, you need another one, or we leave it there?
We can leave it right there. I got a couple of questions. All right. I feel like most rappers, and this is not just in Uganda, this is all over the world, when you look at, what they're doing with their free time, let's say they're behind the scenes, or let's say their music as well. I find like you are one of those artists that really do care about the community. And just to throw you to here at the 20 years, we're watching something called Project X on NBS television. And while I was watching one of the episodes, I realized one thing, that you're digging into culture, into tradition, into people. And I really strongly believe that the biggest tourist attraction that we have in Uganda is actually the people, not necessarily the animals. So that gets me to my question. How important is community to you, and what exactly are you doing with Project X?
Yeah, community is huge. For me personally, I think I never really put it at the forefront at times when I should have. But I think even from the Clear Cut days, we had one of the biggest tours around to raise awareness, AIDS awareness. This is like back in 2002, 2003. We were part of the, a lot of those big pushes for awareness. Of course, everybody knows I'm in and out of the refugee camps a lot, and that's just from my own experience, having displaced between here and, Kenya during the Civil War and stuff. So people know about that as well. Off the ground as well, people with disabilities, we work, hand in hand with them. Women's empowerment programs, so many over the years. Child education programs, girls' child education programs, alongside Rahu and the crew. Really, I'd say that if, people always like, oh, you give 150% of your time to music, but I'd say if I have 100%, 30% of my time is probably dedicated to that community outreach. But I don't really talk about it. It's not really at the forefront of what people want to know about Navio. That's more of a Muhammad Daniel thing. But it is very important. And of course, I see Baba in the building as well. He's all about community. And we've had talks and stuff over the years. I think there's a mutual respect for what we do above the line, below the line, in the hood, out the hood, for projects we've been a part of. I think any hip hop or anyone who's involved in hip hop from our days, whether it's the Sylvester's, Abrams, Baba, us guys, Clear Cut, it's something that came with the hip hop responsibility, and that's the difference between us and a lot of genres. The community is part of what we do.
How do you, take care of your kids, your family, when you're also here very heavy?
Yeah, I believe that both go hand in hand. None of the men and women are in this building right now doing what they do for the sake of their jobs. They're doing it for the sake of family. So I think it's never a competition between family and work. You work for your family. Family for me is the most important thing. And I think that work ethic was, it was kind of early. I had my son is now 14. He's a big boy. He's bigger shoes than me, bigger hands. So it's beautiful to see them grow and how he's kept me focused. I believe that I had a certain amount of expectations coming in, but when he was born, that really made me reassess how I want to be remembered, and how hard I go. So for me, family and work, they go hand in hand. The expression you see, the creativity, the drive, the consistency that people mention. For me, I get that because I get that reminder every time I go home that I'm not working for me, I'm working for family. So the two go hand in hand.
All right, I've already seen enough videos of people saying that they're coming to the Navio concert, and I'm talking about, big artists, already endorsing that they're coming to party with us. What should, we expect from Navio on the D-Day?
I think this is like what, my 9th show. This for me is 20 years because nothing is guaranteed. We're not guaranteed I'm gonna get a 30 years. We're not guaranteed I'm gonna get a 40 years. So for me, this is such a huge milestone. Everything has to be on point, spectacular. And I have to show what, those 70 awards, what those 35, 40 countries that we've toured, what the experiences with different programs, everything from, 1-8 to Twendekazi to, the Channel O nominations, everything from Clear Cut, the days touring around Africa, from bus, border to private jet. I gotta show what all of that has taught me for 2 to 3 hours on a stage. That's how I'm regarding it. So for me, it's life or death. Everything my brand has built to, everything that we've been coming to, is coming to a head here. But then also at the same time, it's a huge celebration. I made it back from West Africa. I made it back from Asia and everywhere that I've been. All those awards, I've made it back from there, bringing it home. So now for me, it's like a coming home story. And this is how it ends. Like, this is the huge celebration. People are coming to party. People are coming to have fun. So yeah, even my closest friends that I've been talking to are like, we're here to celebrate. As much as everything's gonna be running smoothly, the first and foremost, we're here to celebrate and have a good time. So yeah, man, if you want to be at the craziest party in town, make sure you guys come down, and have a good time. I think it's a safe spot that we've picked. Thank you to Sheraton for providing such a safe dynamic, whether it comes to the VIPs or everyone else who's coming, the regular folk like me. We're all gonna be in the same place all gonna be safe, all gonna be taken care of, great security. You know, the place is walled in, really nice. And you know, a breezy gardens in Sheraton. Who doesn't want to be in a situation like that? It's very central. I'm really looking forward to the experience.
Right. Also to celebrate NBS television.
Failures, had enough, hard times, had enough experiences to really inspire the next generation of guys. I believe that we kicked open so many doors. But the problem with kicking open doors is your knee might end up hurting. You know what I mean? So we kicked open so many doors, but it comes at a great cost. And I think the beauty is being able to share that with the people coming up. I think with UNMF and a bunch of things that are happening in the industry right now, there's a huge surge towards how we're going to influence the next generation of artists, how they're going to benefit. And so I think in 20 years, man, I just want to be remembered as a guy, first and foremost, just a Rubaga boy who loved music, loved this country, wanted to explore Uganda, bring that to the people, and wanted the best for his family, man. And as Ugandans, everybody's your family. I think that's what it is.
I like that. I definitely like that. Thank you so much, Navio.
This is hilarious because my mom did an interview 3 months ago where she told the whole country I was unplanned. And they had a boy and a girl, and I came along. But they still love me, so it's okay. As a planned kid, what?
What are your greatest fears, personally and as an artist?
Greatest fears, I don't like past family, I don't really have too many fears. Family, friends, I fear for other people more than myself. I was raised to be able to handle myself in many situations, so I don't really fear for myself, but yeah, it's just the difference between being a real human being and a role model sometimes, I think is what's expected of us sometimes as artists is very, very broad, and everybody has a bad day. So reputation is a big one, just because I represent more than myself. I represent the Ugandan people, I represent my fans, every time I step outside I represent more than myself. So that would be my only fear, but that's about it.
Okay, 20 years down the road, what is that one time that you felt like quitting, and why did you feel like that during your 20 years of journey?
Quitting. I feel like when they became a shift to everybody going online, that was one of the moments I thought that maybe things are going to be decided by online. Before we even understood it, it seemed like, oh, we're going to do this vote for this awards or that awards, or you get into this, or this is now how big you're going to be. When we started getting attached to a number, statistically, I knew that it was going to be difficult for us in Africa. So that's the first time I was like, wow, you have all these great artists who are so amazing at what they do, but if they don't have the stats to back them up, does that really mean that they're not dope artists anymore? I think that for me was one of the biggest things. The shift to online was a moment where I was like, oh wow, so my ability to freestyle and rap and battle and do whatever I do, where does that now rank in this online world where they're like, Navio, you only have 2 followers? I still don't think it's a good way for us to judge acts and artists, because and even music videos, stuff like that, it's not a good way to judge artists, because any big artist will walk out on stage, albeit at Diamond Platinums. In Uganda, Joanita Kawalia will walk out on the same stage and you'll see what the crowd will do, but she's not about followers, and she's not about music videos and anything like that. So it's very hard to judge artists. That would be one of the times that I thought, it was going to be, but that was also like 15 years ago. So.
Kale,
I kept going.
Lastly, there have been allegations of your audience being mostly in young kids' school and stuff, and you're doing a concert when kids are coming back for holidays and campus is resuming. Is this proving the fact that is where your audience lies?
You know what? Me and my team are really bad with calendars, so we usually just do whatever we feel like. I think at this point, whatever date felt good was what we're gonna go with. We're saying to ourselves, we need 3 months, 4 months for the build-up, and this seemed to be the perfect date. I don't think we're when it comes to a 20-year, you can't be very particular about the timing. You have to just do it when the, this is when I started, September 2003. So this is when I have to have my concert. So we weren't very particular about the date, but we did announce the date before any of the other shows that are on the date.
2nd September, Navio concert, 20 years of Navio. Let's do it. So the entire way to Kamuchi tune, corporate thugging, something me and my goons do. Twagala majazi no na busungu. Paid in full, the sikwata na bitundu. Love la familia, never switch side. Jumped at the whip because the door is suicide. 20 years of Navio. Let's go.
So much that we can have I already know, man. Give thanks. 20 years of Navio.
I set myself up. I am 256. I am the movement. I'm the opposition fighting power for improvement. I'm the everyday man. I'm not clueless. I'll be like Mwenda for that paper. I am Judas. I am Nyanzi, fighting harder than what you think. I will uphold the low psych. I am toothless. I am bark with no bite. Yeah, I am toothless. I am gritty, wouldn't even give up on my 2 cents. That's it.
Yes, sir. Bask in the presence of legends, we in effect. Smoking Carolina Reapers, choke you out your last breath. Couple stars go to war, they be looking for revenge. I be the one with the secret, I know how to cheat death. Bars like Lucifer, crucify every other rapper before they choose to die. Eulogize, put you in a hearse, you plan for my demise. Private eye looking at me like you know I did it, but scared to ask, who am I? Who? The lyrical pallbearer, deliver in all endeavors, efficient in all my methods. Woo. Roll rhymer without the rubbers, never want to duck for cover. Head out when the bullets coming. Woo. The African beast from the east, off his leash, proofs nightmares when they recorded me. The general of the AOC, and now I see why they hate on me. I mean, I'll find more at this show.
So we have the Myth here, and I just wanted, take your time. I'm not gonna give you 1 minute. Who am I? So take your time and tell us a little bit experience with Navio. Who is Navio? First, everything you did in the corridors. This is the time to tell the world. Hey, but it's good to have you, man.
Good to be here, guys. Thank you so much for coming through today. We hope to see more of this, more support leading towards this concert. 20 years of this gentleman, Navio. What to say, man? I have so many stories. I don't know the right ones in a space like this.
You should turn off Navio. He's threatening the guy.
I don't know which ones to say, but just to be short, because people's time. I mean, we've had moments where it's you're traveling by bus for 24 hours across the continent, country to country. Flights, whatever it is, and we have bonded and worked on stuff. Constant workaholic. We're going to Nairobi. There was some sweet evening tea in the morning, if you understand. And he wanted to write music. I don't know why. But yeah, just constant workaholic, and it has translated. 20 years consistent, making hits consistently. I don't know, 6 albums? And those are the ones that are out here. 3 with clear cuts. There's some that are unreleased from battles. I have seen the progress from just battle rapper to this brand here, and just happy to be here and support in any way that I can. Yeah, that's it. That's
Thank you so much.
Version.
I would say.
What's your favorite Navio song?
Oh, right. What's your favorite Navio song?
Trouble.
Oh, the award-winning song from the Pride album.
Who forced you to shoot it?
Yes.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now we know who forced Navio to shoot the video. Thank you so much, the Myth, for blessing us.
Thanks.
And the Myth, elaborate on why Talent Africa decided to be a part of Navio's milestone, in this celebration.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ali Alibai. I'm the CEO of Talent Africa. And why we chose to be a part of this show, I think it's a no-brainer for Talent Africa. We've been working alongside Navio for I think the distance of the 20 years. From the Club Rouge days to Talent 256 to Talent Africa. We've been together in so many different scenarios as management, as agents, as promoters, as event managers, as friends, as travel companions. I think I've traveled more than 20 countries together with Navio. There's just so many experiences that have been shared over the years. And of course, when an opportunity to jump on his 20 years concert comes along, it's just a no-brainer. It's like guaranteed, like we have to do it. He's my brother. We'll always support each other and our businesses, and that's why we're on board.
Yeah, Navio, to be called brother.
It's not late.
It's not late.
I'm the only one.
This is my son. All right, what should we expect from Talent Africa Group, in form of event productions at the concert?
It's going to be a great production. We're going to fill this place up like we did a couple of weeks ago with Navio's show, a real hip-hop show. Big stage, big lights, big screens, big production. Navio, as everyone knows, he works hard. When he's putting on a show, he's going to rehearse, he's going to bring his A game, and we're just happy to be there with him to produce what he wants and to bring out his vision through that artistic performance.
As we celebrate 20 years of Navio, I don't know how long you really know Navio, but one thing I know is that you have traveled with him all over this country and beyond, emphasizing on and beyond. So, getting it on a personal level and on a level of Talent Africa Group, tell us a few experiences that you've shared with the champion here.
We've gone to so many places. One of the experiences I can remember is when we went to South Africa to shoot the one and only video, which at that time was probably the highest budget video ever shot by a Ugandan artist. We worked with an extremely great film crew, and the concept of that song and that video was like he had to bungee jump, he had to swim with the sharks, he had to do crazy stuff. And I remember that when we're driving out on the boat to go and swim with the sharks, we got out there a little bit late, and the waves were quite choppy, and we just started getting out, and the waves were really crazy. Everyone on the boat was vomiting except for like 2 people. By the way, he was one of the ones vomiting. One of the cameras flew off the boat in like the first minute. Luckily, we had a backup camera on the boat. Then we had to swim with the sharks, and while swimming with the sharks, this guy got bit by like jellyfish like all over his back. Then he was not feeling well. I think that's one of the experiences I can clearly remember, but it was a great video. We had many locations. We traveled all over South Africa to shoot that, and it was a great time.
For the love of Ugandan music. You're welcome.
We've had some great experiences in Malaysia, in Thailand, in the US, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. I think we've traveled more than 15 to 20 countries together. And the thing that I always appreciate about Navio is that no matter how hard we may go out at night, or if he has a performance or whatever, he'll wake up the next morning and he's back to work. That's what I got to put my hats off to him. He's a hard worker, dedicated artist. Yeah.
I remember watching the video and thinking, that's definitely Photoshop. Nobody can do this. He didn't really do this. Then he came around on TV. I saw him saying how he did it. I'm like, now I believe the story. You actually did this thing.
Yes.
Bless up. One more question. This one is fun. I'll be reading some lyrics off of some song, and I expect you to tell me what the song is. Now, me and you don't want you to embarrass me here today, so we better get this right. All right, I'm back like I never went, yeah? They say we must be on to something, but they lack in the evidence. A fact that's irrelevant, because I'm not in politics, but I'm still doing trucks with the president. Where does that come from? I want to punish that kid in class.
Thanks, Mith, for making me look bad. I knew that already. Jeez. Let's do another one, Joe.
I know, right? All right, DJ Kathy, you gotta play me a song.
20 years, not just in music, but in business. But celebrating 20 years is such a lovely landmark. So a round of applause for Navio. And I remember 20 years ago, 5 young kids came to me and they said they have a song and had to play it on Jam Agenda. And the very first hip hop video was All I Wanna Know. We played it 20 years ago on Jam Agenda, the first ever hip hop video. And with that, I just want to know, is Juliana going to be part of this? Are the boys coming? Is JB, Papito, are they coming for the 20 years? And also, is Peter Mars going to be around? Because Ruckus was such a wonderful, Ruckus was a classic. I think we were just talking here, I think you deserve a documentary. So with Simari, we're going to do a documentary for you for 20 years in the game. And there's so many things that you have done. You know, I don't know if you remember R. Kelly, where you selected among so many, you know, few African rappers to represent the country. You and R. Kelly on the Jam and all these Nigerians. So you've had such a wonderful career. Of course, people saying, oh, you're a planned kid, rich and all that. Yeah, but, you know, you've earned it. You've earned it. It's not that you've had a soft spot or anything. You've earned it. And, you know, being around 20 years and playing the very first song and giving you that platform, I'm grateful for this. And, yeah, so we can't wait for the documentary, and big up and massive for the 20 years.
October 19th. So all of the experiences that I've learned over this 20 years, we have a book that's coming out. I have my partner that I'm working with on it called Jeffrey Samaganda, where I wanted him to say a few words about the project, yeah, before we get to the questions. And yes.
You wrote a book?
Yes, I've been writing it.
I think the biggest challenge we face in Africa is that we don't value what wealth is. Because 20 years, there's a person behind those 20 years. And one of the reasons we're the most undervalued human beings on the planet, because nobody knows who we are. If you Google him, you're not going to find much. So one of the reasons I'm encouraging every single one of you, especially people like you, people follow, you have to tell us who you are, where do you come from, what you stand for, where you're going, how you're getting there, what contributions are you making? Because this is a chapter of your life, there's another chapter. Music ends sometimes, right? But you're still a young man, there's a lot to go. There's so many chapters in his life. His story is incredible. I did a research, asked some young people about Navio. You know what they used to tell me? He's just a rich kid. Doesn't even need the money. What does he do? Well, I've known his mother for the last 15 years. That's how I got to know Navio. His mother is the woman who basically introduced me to him. I did some research on him, the amount of work he puts in. But then I told him that beside the music, how can people in the country across Africa get to know how you do what you do so they can emulate what you do going forward? So many artists have disappeared. So many wealthy individuals in Africa have completely disappeared. We don't know who they are, we don't know what they did. And by the way, if you don't write, don't worry, they'll write for you. The key is, would you want to really be happy with what they say? So every single artist and every single one of you, anything that's not documented doesn't exist. Anything that's not documented doesn't exist. The reason why, I live in the UK, my company is actually publishing that we're helping to do this. One of the reasons really confused me, how come those countries call them wealth countries when the UK borrow £20 billion a month to pay their bills? Why do we call them wealthy? Because they document everything. Here, even people in Uganda, when I come here, they said to me, why are you writing things down? Are you Muzungu? So he has to document. And also beyond documentation, your program is a training program. It's going to be shared all across the country, all across Africa, teaching them what made you who you are, so that you don't die. You see, people don't die as long as they do what? Document. But I leave you with this, especially here in Uganda. My name is Samaganda. But what happens here, we don't value documentation. They even call it butabu. They don't invest any time putting it in there. Everywhere I have been is because something that needs to speak for me before I show up. That's what you have to do. So all the questions you've asked, every single thing that he hasn't even told you, it's in that document. The partners should partner with him long term, not just for this show. This show is over when? When is September? After that, and then what? Partner with him this document because it's going to be ongoing forever. He's going to be inspiring young people all across the country, all across Africa, ever. Sure, it will be done. And the cameras will be off, and you forget about him until he keeps going. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank all the sponsors. Thank you guys so much for coming on board. I know that in this hectic landscape, sometimes it's hard to, buckle down and, decide what you're going to be a part of. So just the fact that you're here on the journey with me, I really appreciate it. So thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to the media. You guys have been with me since DV8. Yes, behind the scenes, some of you have footage which you shouldn't release, and keep it that way. Some of you have footage that you have released now. Thank you guys so much for your influence as well as media. Thank you to all the team that's been behind the scenes as well, everyone who's ever supported me, Nav Corp, Talent, all the people who made me what I am. Thank you so much. Clear Cut in the building, definitely. And of course my ghostwriter, Count Machura as well, who's in the building. Thank you guys so much. Code, I see all the guys who are putting in work, and I really appreciate the industry as it stands right now. So thank all of you guys.